Hi, I'm Mike McCarthy.
And I'm Ron Palmer.
We're the media crisis gurus. We have about 60 years of experience in either dealing with the media or being the media guy who's doing the dealing. And I guess dueling is probably pretty close to it too, isn't it?
Dueling is pretty close. As my former experience as chief of police in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Portsmouth, Virginia, I've literally been interviewed hundreds of times by people like yourself.
I know, and isn't it just unpleasant?
It's really painful at times.
And you know, sometimes it can be painful. But what we teach in our seminars and in the book and all the tapes that we have is the best way for you to handle a media in a crisis situation. And I think we do that pretty well.
We do it well. And people come away with immediate skill set, and we have a great time doing it. We present it in a point, counterpoint format. We give them everything that they need to walk away, to walk out that door of that seminar and give a good media interview that afternoon.
And we've got the proof in the pudding. I mean, we've done a lot of different seminars over the years for the folks at Bowman, the building owners and managers.
Right.
At Red Cross, we did a terrific 2-day training for them last year. The Oklahoma Veterinary Association.
Right. Don't forget the American Society of Industrial Security International Conference last year that we did.
And by the way, we get really good ratings on these things too, so we're very proud of that.
I tell you what, we hope you enjoy the presentation. And what you see here is the trimmed down version of what we do routinely and do very well. And we hope you enjoy it, and Mike and I have a good time doing it.
Yeah, we do. So let's get together. And here's the clip.
What is the purpose of their story? This is their perspective. And why is their perspective is that's their job for the day. You got to think about it not in terms of being so personal. You got to think about it in terms of this is what the reporter does today. He starts or she starts with a blank page, a blank TV screen, no air on the radio, and they have to fill that. Some stations 24 hours a day.
Every other reporter, every other media person out there was A, unhappy with me, which I could give a rat's behind about, but B, really unhappy with the person who was giving that exclusive because you have excluded all of the other people. Now, if you have a really great relationship, a personal friendship with a media person, a reporter, for instance, which is like going to bed with a shark. But if you do in fact have that, you are very fortunate, but more than likely, if you keep on giving that person exclusives, you are going to wind up with really bad media relations because, see, we talk amongst ourselves. It's a very incestuous business. Everybody works for everybody else, and everybody knows everybody else, so that I may be having cocktails with Chuck Ely from Channel 8, and we're talking about whatever it is, and all of a sudden that story that I did that he didn't get comes up, and he goes, "How did you get that?" Well, big mouth that media people are, I'm going to say, well, I know so-and-so and such and such, and then he's going to go to so-and-so and such and say, how come I didn't get that story too? And all of a sudden you've given that exclusive, and you don't have the kind of credibility then that you had once before. So because media is credibility and perception, I would say that doing exclusives is probably one of the worst things that you can do.
This was me always. Okay? And I tell you why, is that if you end up trusting the media without fault, unconditional trust, you'll get hurt. You'll get burned. However, this is the most of the things that I would think about, and maybe some of you that raised your hand and said I don't like the media would think about. You'll misquote me. You know, I don't trust you. You'll get it wrong. These whole host of things. What have you done for me? It's my information. You can't have it. Everybody like that one? You know, you can't have it. I own it. You can't have it. And a lot of that is true. But a lot of it, especially if you're in government work, isn't true. My God, I've been misquoted. Oh my God. If I woke up every morning and had heart failure from the times I've been misquoted, I would not be standing here because I would be dead long ago in the ground because I can't think of the times I've been misquoted. We talked about this, are they great? So great that they just can't come down to earth, and are they the guy that behind the curtain? In part they are. The media, if you go, oh man, it's the media, and how big that is worldwide, you could be overwhelmed. If you take it down to It's one person, it's one reporter you're talking to that day. You're going to do your best, and if you're prepared, you're going to do fine. You got to understand too, there's going to be a different media agenda in crisis versus non-crisis. If it bleeds, it leads. It's absolutely accurate. And how you perceive the media can help you, hurt you, or kill you. You bet. We're going to show you that.
The media needs a story, and if you can give them a story that puts your spin on things in a proper way, it becomes the story. She is a marvel at being able to answer questions, to put what is her key benefit, her key talking point into every answer that she gives. And it may not be necessarily as ethical as maybe we'd like to have, but you know what? She does a very good job at it. She comes across well, and she's a great representative for the administration. Remember what the media is going to do. The media is going to take sound bites or quotes. So the thing that stands out the most in that media person's mind when they go back to the editing room or when they go back to write that story is what is more than likely going to show up on print or on the TV screens. So you want to, again, say it, and re-say it.
These are like do's and don'ts. We call them rules to live by. Do these things, okay? You got to tell the truth. You got to talk factually. You got to be concise. You got to defuse the rumors. If you don't do this, the genuine concern for situation loss and victims, you will hurt yourself and hurt your public image. I had a police commander early on in my career here in Tulsa. He was on the John Arlington show. You all remember John. And we had a homicide issue at that time, and he, you know, thought he was like David Letterman of the police commanders. And he got on there and he was talking about how many people had been killed in the past week, and he said, and this is a verbatim quote, "Yes, we're stacking up bodies like cordwood." And I got to the office, and he was in my office within minutes after I got there. In fact, I called to have him in my office minutes after I got there, and he never talked to John Arlington the rest of my career.
Always hot. That camera is always on. The guy, whether he says he's on the record or off the record, don't say anything that you don't want to have repeated, because it will be repeated. Will be repeated. Something else that's really, really important. By doing this, you're messing up the media guy's job. All of a sudden, he's got nothing. Remember that blank slate, that blank audio. He has nothing. So what does he have to do? He still has to get a story. He still has to fill that space or that audio or that time. So what happens? He goes to somebody who may not have your best interest at heart. And if he does that, then you have really lost. Not only, like you said, does he not trust you, does he think you have something to hide, but you're messing with his pocketbook, with his checkbook, because he can't do his job because you won't give him a quote. One of the oldest brands in America, Firestone, is no longer around because it was so damaged by their reaction to all of this, because they weren't willing to take responsibility. They blamed other people, and they just handled it probably the worst they could possibly have handled it. Take Tylenol, by the other example. What happens? Somebody dies, they pull everything off the shelf. Every pill out there they pulled off the shelf to show everybody that, hey, we really care about you. This is a life and death situation. And what happens now? Tylenol is back to being number one. But they handled it right. They took responsibility. They said, it's our deal, and we're going to live with it.
Hey, that's pretty good, wasn't it?
That was good.
I mean, we do actually kick butt.
We rock from time to time, the people in LT and the other people that we present to. You know, they come up to us afterwards all the time and say, good job, you helped me, I can go out and do it.
And more importantly, they buy the book, and they buy the tapes, and they buy the CDs, because what we give them is content-rich information, and at the same time, we have a lot of fun with them. It's never a dull moment with the Media Crisis Gurus.
And there's never no comment.